Hello and welcome to another trip report. My days actually started in Porto in the north of Portugal, and I took an internal flight with TAP Air Portugal down to Lisbon. Now, I've got two flights in this itinerary, the second one off to Vienna on the A330 with TAP Air Portugal. I only had about 1 hour to change planes in Lisbon, which is why you can't see my face at the start of this video. I simply didn't record an opening segment. I arrived in Lisbon at about 7 AM and that only gave me about half an hour of useful time before it was time for me to head down to the gate and reboard my second flight of the day. TAP used the main terminal, Terminal 1 at Lisbon, and it's really dated with very low ceilings and a lack of natural light. Most of the amenities are located around a central atrium here, and the TAP business class lounge is located at the top of these escalators. I think it's definitely worth pointing out at the start of this video that while TAP are a full service airline, they have some extremely low premium fares across to North America. For example, right now you can fly between Copenhagen via Lisbon to points in North America like Toronto and New York for around €600 one way in business class. These are some truly remarkable fares. It's therefore not surprising that the TAP Business Lounge at Lisbon was very crowded. There are an awful lot of flights leaving to North America in the morning. Aside from the fact that this lounge offers some excellent runway and apron views, there's very little to say about the lounge. It's neither brilliant nor terrible in any aspect, and I was only here for a very short time anyway. TAP are undergoing a period of revitalisation, taking on some brand new A330-200 Neos to replace some of the ancient A340s which still operate to secondary destinations in Brazil and to places like Maputo in Mozambique. They're also taking on some brand new A321 aircraft, the long-range variety, which they hope to operate between Porto and Newark later in the year. Very quick whistle stop tour for me today, only about 15 minutes because I have to get to the gate. Short connection as I said earlier, let's go and find the aircraft. If I could give Terminal 1 at Lisbon a backhanded compliment, it would be that it's so cramped you don't have to walk far to any of the gates. There's priority boarding available for business class customers and for those holding Star Alliance Gold membership. Our aircraft is actually at a remote stand today, so we're boarding via the bus and stairs, and priority boarding basically means that you get to go down to the holding area for the bus first. It's not really glamorous. However, I'll confess that I really like boarding by bus and stairs. You get a nice drive across the tarmac and you get to get up close and personal with the aircraft before you board. Thank you. Business class is located at the front of the aircraft and is in a curious 2-2-1 formation. This means that on certain seats on the right hand side of the aircraft you get one of these Captain Kirk throne seats. In these seats you will have no seatmate, double the table space and double the storage space. I'll come to a seat tour a little after takeoff. You may well have seen last week's video about Iberia's A350, and you can guess what I'm going to say again here. The cabin is extremely bland. It's a very good hard product, but I don't really get why there is so much grey everywhere. For a vibrant country, I'm surprised the national airline doesn't even include some red or green trim in their cabin, in the national colours. Nonetheless, grey is at least a conservative choice and will be inoffensive to most people. Another benefit of having one of these throne seats is that you get 3 windows all to yourself.
Bem-vindo a bordo de Portugal.
You're probably wondering why TAP are using a large A330 aircraft between 2 European cities. This is generally done when there's an awful lot of cargo demand or passenger demand. TAP are actually using an A330 on the London to Lisbon route later on this summer, so keep an eye out for it. Today's flight to Vienna is 1,434 miles. It'll take us 3 hours and 10 minutes at an altitude of 39,000 feet. This seat has got to be one of the best I've ever sat in for storage. There's a large storage compartment just to the left of you here. This is actually so large it will probably take a small lady's handbag. Elsewhere in the seat we have a hook here for the earphones, which are only given out on long haul flights, a lamp, and there's a USB charging point which you can see here. There's also a remote control for the in-flight entertainment. There's also a good amount of storage underneath the in-flight entertainment screen, as you can see here. Closer to the window there's yet another storage compartment, another substantial section on top, and beneath the life jacket stowage area there's also a place where you can stow your shoes, which is really handy if you're on a long haul flight and you want to recline into a bed and go to sleep. On the same side and at shoulder height there's a literature pocket, which seems a little bit redundant because there's another one here on the aisle side, and that comes with a universal power socket and USB charger. As you would expect from any long-haul business class seat that's been newly installed, the seat is fully adjustable and customizable, including laying into a flat bed. I was able to stretch out fully and still have space between my toes and the bulkhead. I was glad to see that TAP did offer in-flight entertainment on this short route. Sometimes on European flights, airlines that fly their long-haul aircraft don't bother with getting the license to fly it on short-haul too. There was a pretty good selection of films and games, and of course there was a moving map, which is my favourite part of the in-flight entertainment anyway. This A330 is equipped with Wi-Fi, but it was a little expensive for my taste, so I decided not to use it this time around. On short-haul routes, TAP prefer to offer a refreshing wipe instead of a hot towel service that's preferred by some European carriers. The speed of the service was quite slow, however. It was nearly an hour until we were served breakfast after takeoff. Some people on my last video about Iberia didn't really understand what I meant about having the food uncovered before it's presented to you. Meals are almost always covered after they come from the galley, but all the cabin crew have to do is remove the tops before they present it to you. It's just an awful lot more premium that way. I've flown a lot of European business class, in fact probably too much for my sanity. This breakfast that TAP gave me was rather small. This is a 3-hour flight and most European carriers will give you something much more substantial than this in business class. That being said, the actual quality of the food wasn't too bad, it's just the portion sizes overall did smack a little bit of cost cutting. However, one of the things that definitely redeemed the catering service, at least in my eyes, was the fact they handed out chocolates straight after breakfast. There were 2 magazines in my literature pocket. The first is TAP's normal on-air magazine, and the second one, I couldn't tell if it was from TAP or not, but it was certainly a fairly decent lifestyle magazine, which was mostly in Portuguese with some translated into English. I really want to visit Mozambique someday. Given the amazing transatlantic fares that I stated earlier in the video, I was really interested to see TAP's hard product on the A330. I was particularly interested to see that they've even got real flowers in the lavatories. That's something that some Asian carriers at the top of their game don't even bother with. One of my flying superstitions is to always order a final drink just before landing. In this case, I had a delightful orange juice. Let me know if you have any flying superstitions in the comment section below. For now, let's enjoy a beautiful summer approach into Vienna, Austria. So on to my final thoughts about my journey with TAP Air Portugal. This was actually the first time I'd ever flown with TAP. The journey cost me £215 one way in business class. That's around €250. Now, it was an awful lot cheaper for me to start my ticket from Porto than from Lisbon, even though I was travelling on the same aircraft to Vienna. That's just one of the vagaries of airline pricing. It's always great to fly wide-body aircraft on short-haul routes, and, as I said earlier, keep a lookout for this aircraft heading to London sometime soon. And that's it, guys. Welcome to Vienna in Austria, where it is really, really warm and I can feel myself getting a tan, which is why I'm in the shade. I hope you enjoyed coming with me on that trip report. It was a bit of a tale of two halves that particular trip. The soft product I didn't think was particularly amazing, especially the food and the speed of service. However, it was a large aircraft. Just to bear in mind, if you are looking at taking TAP Air Portugal on the A330s transatlantic down to South or North America, or maybe down into Africa as well, there is a different service on long haul. It is much more substantial than that. What I got was basically what you would get on one of the Airbus A319-20 aircraft travelling through Europe. Anyway, I really enjoyed the hard product. I think that throne seat is one of the best seats in the house. So I hope you enjoyed the trip report. I'm going to wrap up now, and I'll see you next time.